it's really got to be drilled.
When we talk about a low single leg,
all right, we're going to take a look at some of Kiyooka's head outside stuff, his attacks and finishes. Got a couple different setups. This one's really simple. I mean, he's inside tie, which gives him access to this armpit space when he lifts this up. Level change and lift. He's got pretty good length, so he doesn't really even penetrate to his knee. He just kind of drops and inside reaches, almost like an ankle pick. So it's a little less driving attack and a little more ankle pick style. But we see one thing that kind of gives trouble sometimes is this thumb block. If you're trying to move forward, but since he's only lifting and more or less dropping to his knee, not really an issue here. As long as he can grab the leg, no big deal. He's not pushing the guy backwards by trying to penetrate through this thumb block. And he drops and anchors. And here's a pretty common finish he does once he gets there. Hand drops. He'll go head low behind the knee. And just look to collect far leg. This one's like the simplest it gets for this type of attack and finish. Here we got his low kind of inside ankle from a collar tie. Pretty standard if you're collar tie and this guy's over tie and not doing anything with it, especially not even pinching his elbow down, then you have this whole window to attack. So that's what Kiyooka does. He's just going to rotate his elbow up. And again, this is like this is a little more of a drop rather than a penetration. There's a little bit of forward motion, but we see his front foot doesn't even really pick up. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not a huge fan of the direction his knee is going, because in general, the guy's going to try and defend that way. So if my knee's pointed away and this guy's running the opposite direction, it's going to be really hard for me to get to his leg sometimes or recover well. But losing Olympic champ, so he makes it work. Anchors low, similar to ankle pick, and we can see this elbow lift just gets all this space to get underneath the guy to attack. Super low. Inside hand to heel. And then as the guy, this was the typical reaction when you get here, the guy's going to try and run and kick away. And as he does, he makes sure he secures that foot to his chest. So that way he's got his forearm on this side and his chest on the other side to trap his foot. And he'll finish head between pretty often, grabbing the other leg and securing his takedown. One more similar attack, almost the exact same, from this collar tie position. So we see he's left hand collar tie, does that really low penetration underneath, collects the foot, and then finishes. All right. So let's take a look and see kind of what he's doing here. This one, he's penetrating a little bit more, knee driving forward. Again, when this guy's over tie, they're allowing you to basically lift your elbow and get underneath two of their lines of defense, their head and their arm. Attacks low around the ankle. And then here It's going to be a little hard to see, but once he grabs, he can essentially just lay on this leg and have it trapped in his forearm and chest, or forearm and bicep. Really hard for this guy to kick out in that position. And then he collects it with his other hand for some security. And then here, this is something we'll likely see later on, but he'll outside shelf. And this is something Japan does a lot. They'll go this backhand above the knee, hard to see here, and then they'll swim over top with their front hand. And they try and collect far ankle or far knee, looking for some of their lace options. Here's another way he kind of gets to that low ankle position, and something he can do when the guy kicks out. So here we see more of a elbow pass, and the guy steps out and he attacks the other foot. All right, so pretty standard elbow pass stuff. Big level change, drops his head so the hand will slide off. Moves his feet to the side he's attacking. Still has that elbow control so he can pass it, hence elbow pass. Takes his penetration step pretty low on the leg here. Head tucks behind, and then securing that foot, or at least attempting to here. Guy's able to kick out, and then he immediately reaches for his other leg. Right? Not a big fan of chasing, but I'm sure he has felt this many times, and he knew exactly what was going on. This is my favorite attack that Kiyooka does. It's just a misdirection to his high crotch or head outside attack. Pretty standard finish here. So you see he takes a step and touches with his backside hand on the opposite shoulder. So everything is indicating this side. And then when the guy reacts, we see him pull that foot back. He just attacks the other leg. All right. Pretty interesting, I would say, non-traditional like attacks, positions. I mean, so he's like hand on the mat while he's reaching for the leg, weird knee angles, things like that, but that dude's fast and makes it work. Really good job getting back to a decent angle. Pretty standard finish. I like hand down the leg, straightens the leg, keeps good head pressure, drives across. Similar misdirection attack here. Gets to his feet on this one. This one ends up in a step out. So we see the misdirect. Back to that outside. I really like what he did with his outside hand there. And then climbs up the leg pretty clean. And then allows the guy to get his leg back to the mat. Interesting. So again, we're going to see shoulder reach, foot to the opposite side, and then attacking back the other direction, hand on the mat, hand at the knee. Then when he recovers, really good knee slide. Pulls this elbow. So he does a really good job keeping this arm pretty tight. No chance for underhook. Really good job getting his head and chest up to get to his feet. Don't know why he chose this though. This allows the guy to get his leg out. I mean, he just completely loses control of this leg. But ends up getting the step out. This one's a little less of a misdirection, but similar motion. And he does that outside shelf cross knee finish. Similar stuff as his elbow lift. Secures the leg, reaches across, attacks that knee. So let's see how much misdirection there was. A little bit. I mean, this foot is the one that moves first, so when he steps here, starts the level change. This foot moves first, which makes it misdirection-ish. And then attacks that opposite leg. Again, it's hand on the mat, and then reach with your inside hand. Does a really good job of hopping his knees over to get the angle back on his attack. Wraps low, gets above the knee, outside shelf, so you see he's got good elbow and hip control with the leg. Now this hand's free to come over top, shoulder below butt, and kind of baseball slides a little bit, or knee slides a little bit to get his knee down. And now he can start looking for his lace options.